The ayes are 68, the noes are 55. The question is agreed.
Camilla Belich, 5-minute call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. This is an absolutely shameful day for this Parliament. Christine Bartlett took a claim to the courts of New Zealand, and the interpretation was that the Equal Pay Act that has been in place since the 1970s applied to claims for work of equal value. At that time, the national government that was once proud to stand on behalf of low-paid women at that time settled her claim for the first care and support workers settlement. I was there across the road when the event for that happened, and I saw national MPs come in and I saw them be congratulated for standing up for working women. And what I want to ask is, where is that National Party today? On this day where, and no matter what anyone on the other side of the House has said, this bill makes pay equity claims for low-paid workers much harder. It takes the threshold to 70%. It means that you can't bring a claim for 10 years. It gives employers the entire right to decide a comparator and whether a claim is meritorious. It's retrospective. It gets rid of existing pay equity settlements. It is a blow to every working low-paid woman in New Zealand that works in a female-dominated role. These people are, Mr Speaker, midwives, allied health professionals, librarians, social workers, nurses, teacher aides. These are the people that this National Party is attacking by bringing through this regressive, retrospective bill brought in under urgency at the very time that they knew that we were all having our caucus meetings, snuck in, only provided on the table 1 hour ago, and we are meant to support this type of bill. This bill will make every aspect of claiming an equal pay claim harder. The hierarchy of comparators, which is put into this bill, which I bet no one else has had the opportunity to look at yet because it's complex, was initially suggested by the National Party when the National Party wanted to settle pay equity claims after the Christine Bartlett case. That was roundly rejected, and the reason for that, Mr Speaker, is because when you look at a hierarchy of comparators, you're essentially saying that you need to find a comparator in your workplace, and if you can't find a comparator in your workplace, you need to look at similar jobs. If you can't find similar jobs, you need to look at similar industries, and it's like an onion. It goes out and out and out. The bureaucracy of trying to find a comparator, which is already very difficult, when you implement this hierarchy of comparators, will make, mark my words, this legislation completely unworkable for low-paid women. This legislation introduced today is the ACT Party getting away with taking away women's rights, and the New Zealand First Party and the National Party are sitting here letting it happen. And this will mean that there is no closing of the gender pay gap. It will mean that people like care and support workers continue to be on the minimum wage. Absolutely shocking. I don't know how you can sleep at night bringing this legislation through. It is absolutely shameful. And what about the process? I looked at the Cabinet paper, and under the heading of human rights, every single part of that was redacted. And I ask, Mr Speaker, why was it redacted? And I think we know the answer to that, because this bill goes against human rights. Women's rights to be fairly paid and for equal pay are human rights. And I bet, even though I can't see it and this House has not been given the opportunity to see it, that Cabinet advice is exactly what that says. And that's why it's been redacted. Absolutely despicable process to sneak this through the House. Additionally, Mr Speaker, I've had a look at the regulatory impact statement, which is basically, the departmental disclosure statement, which states that there was not sufficient time for a regulatory impact statement. What is going on with this government that you will bring in legislation under urgency, repeal it in one single day, not even have a regulatory impact statement, not allow us to see the advice on human rights? It is absolutely a shameful way of running a democracy. And I just want to emphasise, Mr Speaker, because I don't have a lot of time left, that existing pay equity settlements that are already settled now, will be disestablished, and those people will not be able to make another pay equity claim for 10 years, no matter what happens. So the existing settlements, the nurses settlement, the social worker settlement, all of these jobs that we value so much that are female dominated, no matter what happens in the next 10 years, Under this legislation, they will not be able to bring another equal pay claim. Mr. Speaker, this is absolutely despicable way of bringing human rights legislation to the House. It has taken away the rights of low-paid working women throughout New Zealand, and the National Party, the New Zealand First Party and the ACT Party should be ashamed.
Rachel Boyack.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want the members on the other side to go away and reread the comments just made by my colleague Camilla Belich, who has worked on pay equity here in New Zealand and the UK for most of her working career. Because I bet the National Party members who have given some of the most deluded, terrible speeches today have no understanding of what they are voting for. This woman over here does, and I urge you to listen to her. Mr. Speaker, I have been so angry at so many things this government has done, particularly Nelson Hospital, but nothing compares to this. Nothing compares to this, Mr. Speaker. Bringing this under the cover of urgency to undermine the women of New Zealand is a disgrace, and shame on the National Party. Today, Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister Christopher Luxon said the quiet part out loud. He admitted it, he then came back and corrected it, but he admitted, here is what he said when he was asked. He said, I admit that changes will lead to lower costs for the government. There will be less money for teachers, there will be less money for nurses, less money for midwives, less money for our aged care and support workers, less money for our social workers, less money for all of the female-dominated industries in New Zealand that rely on pay equity legislation to ensure that they are paid equal pay for work of equal value. And I'm going to get to that now, because National Party members have gone on and on about the legislation they introduced when they were in government. Now, it did not work. They talked about comparators. The comparators were too narrow. In fact, lawyers like the wonderful Peter Cranny, who took the Christine Bartlett case, said that under Nationals legislation, Christine Bartlett would not have secured the settlement because Christine Bartlett's pay equity claim compared aged care workers, and I hope you listen over there, the women members on the other side, I hope they listen. Peter Cranny has said that Christine Bartlett would not have won her case under Nationals legislation. That is a fact, because under Christine Bartlett's case, they compared aged care workers to corrections officers. Now, the minister got up and poo-pooed that, and she talked about that some of the comparators in place and scoffed at them. Now, how dare she do that? Aged care workers do heavy lifting. They deal with really challenging, difficult work, and absolutely they should be compared to corrections workers. But the National Party is reversing to the type of legislation that would have stopped that comparator being made, and there would not have been a settlement for Christine Bartlett. The other nasty little thing that was put in that settlement was that workers weren't able to take a claim for years and years and years. So again, listen to Camilla Belich, who has said that this is going to stop people from being able to take claims for 10 years. That is an absolute disgrace, Mr. Speaker. And I say on record today, this is a war on women. This is a war on women workers. And I have already had emails from people saying we are going to march in the street over this. Women are outraged. And I say to every National MP sitting there, hanging their heads in shame right now because they didn't know about this either, those in marginal seats, you should be very afraid of what will happen to you at the next election, because this issue galvanises women. They will be knocking on your door. They will be demanding to know why they cannot come to Select Committee and tell their story. They will be demanding to know why you are going to make it harder for them to get pay equity. They are going to demand to know why National has today cancelled all of the existing claims, said they are over, they are gone. Those women workers who have been fighting and putting up robust arguments over the last few years for pay equity, their claims are gone, stopped, have to come under this new mechanism that has tougher thresholds, that makes it harder for them to do it. But the issue isn't, and National members have talked about pay equity legislation gone by. It used to be about man lawyer versus woman lawyer, because once upon a time, male lawyers were paid less than women lawyers, and we outlawed that. But this is about equal work of equal value, looking at a woman-dominated job versus a male-dominated job. That is the point. That is actually the point of this, saying this group of women workers are collectively undervalued because the work they're doing is done by women, and this is a male-dominated industry that is comparable. And that is the point, Mr. Speaker, That is the point. And National are undermining this today, and shame on them, and bring on 2026 or earlier.